you like brainstorming new deck ideas in Battle Spirits Saga, I think you're going to enjoy this video, because that is something that I like to do as well, and I figured I should start sharing some of that with you. Should be some fun, easy content. Leave some comments down below if you've got some suggestions for this. If you end up testing this deck out, let me know what your results are and your findings, any changes you think that you'd like to make or that could make the deck better, or if this is just a complete failure in general. The deck that I have for you today is a white deck with a singular red card in it. You'll never guess what it is. My name for this deck is Midrange Mother Ship. I've only got one Burning Force in here. I'm just going to explain this right away. I am of the opinion that if you are building a deck to be able to get into the top cut, like you want to go as far as possible. You don't want to just get to the top cut, but you want to get as far as possible. I am of the opinion that you have to have at least one Burning Force in your main deck. And the reason for that is once you get to the top cut, your opponents know what's in your deck. They get to see your deck list. And if there is not a Burning Force in your main deck, then they can play that entire first round knowing that they are completely safe leaving their guys really low. And that is very dangerous against aggro decks. So I'm always going to have that one in there if I'm trying to get as far as possible in the tournament. The name of the deck is Mothership Midrange because we have the Infinity Mother Ship in here, and it is a mid-rangey type deck. Now, I do still have 3 Nominguards, I still have 2 Enterprise, but I've got 2 Durham Dyna in here instead of opting for any Elks. Any Elks. And that's because, you know, we want to go faster, we want to close the game out sooner, and Elk is a passive game plan, and we want an active game plan here. Now, I am trying to ramp cores a lot in this deck. I'm using Hollow Beast Glassbear, where when he blocks with the Soul Core, we get a core from the Void onto him. We're using Infinity Mother Ship, where if we control a mecha, we gain 2 cores instead of 1 core on our core step. And then the last one, which is gonna, some people will think this is trash, and it may be, is we're using Frost Tree Goddess Air. When summoned, select one of your spirits with when this spirit blocks and place a core from the void onto it. So it's ramp on a when summoned effect. Now I know when summoned effects very dangerous, but we've got 2 when summons in Valkyrie Mist here, and we've got 4 on Frost Tree. Something I need to say is that this is the intro level. We're brainstorming this right now, and you're here with me, okay? So as we test this deck out, let me know the results. We'll keep these Theorycraft videos going, and we will try to legitimately make strong new decks. Whether they end up being tier 1 or tier 2, you know, hopefully not tier 3, that is up to our experimentation and our testing. And so help me out here. Let's make some cool decks, okay? So let's explain some of these choices. Obviously, for Ice Shield, we're mid-range. We're not full-on hyper aggro white that doesn't need it. We've got 4 suppression in here as well. This possibly could go down if we're trying to speed the deck up a little bit more. But I think for now, it's really nice to be able to just shut off the super aggro decks that run out of gas with basically 8 extra lives with Ice Shield and Suppression. Suppression obviously goes really well with Axebiter being able to be indestructible on his level 2. And then we've got 4 Dream Bomb on here because Dream Bomb is so great as an aggro tool. Also, since we are a white deck, it's nice that this is a way to temporarily remove Nexuses, but we've also got the singular Burning Force to be able to do that. And on top of that, I'm running a single Forest of Steel Leaves. Another reason that I'm using this is since I only want to play 1 Burning Force because it's so expensive, I want a way to be able to return my opponent's Nexuses to their hand continuously, basically forcing them to just not be able to do their stuff. And this is pretty easy since we are going to be having some cheap units that we can block with, and I'm sure will eventually die. And it'll just, you know, prevent your opponent from playing powerful nexuses such as Netherworld Depths, even Volcanic Canyon. I think it's going to be good. And it's also just a one of, because it's just a reduction and just for that utility. And we're never going to get any benefits from having two of these. It's just not ever going to happen. Theoretically, you could benefit from multiple Infinity Mother Ships, but we're not really going to do that either. In here, we're only playing 3 of these because, once again, we don't really want to see a second one, but we do need to play a few copies to get it sooner rather than later. On top of this, we have some backup ramp, like I've mentioned before: Hollow Beast, Glass Bear, and Air. Now, Frost Tree got us Air. I'm just going to show you some of the examples here. It says when the spirit blocks. Now, fortunately, what's really cool is it counts Head Snow Librarian Saga with the when the spirit attacks or blocks. This also works with Odin, who has this same type of effect here too. If you want Odin in your deck, she can place a core from the void onto that spirit as well. And what we've got here is we've got a nice low curve. We've got, what is this? 4, 12, 16. We've got 17 cards that we're happy to play on turn 1, which is great. That's over about 90% chance of drawing one of these on turn 1 if your deck is 50 cards or less. And if we're going second, we're going to be able to have the Infinity Mother Ships that we can play. We can also potentially play Axebiter, though recommended that you don't, depending on who you're playing against, what your opponent is, and because they could just Burning Force it, and you don't want to do that. So with this early game here, we're looking to ramp. And why are we looking to ramp in a mid-range deck, Travi? What the heck? Why would we do that? Well, you see, in my experience with white is you have a lot of, especially your higher cost cards, they require having a lot of cores on them to do the things that you want them to do. In order for you to get your refresh effect on Namengard, you gotta have 4 cores on it. If you want Enterprise to make all of your stuff have red, purple, white armor, once again, 4 cores on it. I mean, Durm Dyna, you don't really need to have many cores on him. You really just need 1 blue core and 1 red core to get the effect that really matters. But still, to get some extra bonus effects, you need some on there. And the other one is Axebiter. Now, if you have not tested with Axebiter, even though he's only a 4 cost and he has 2 reduction, it's actually a really slow card. It's really slow. And being able to force yourself to have 3 cores on it early in the game, like you can play him early and then you put the 3 cores on him, and then your next several turns are almost nothing. You don't get to do much because you don't have that many cores, and you're too scared to drop cores off of Axebiter because you want him to stay alive. Now, that is why we are using some bonus ramp cards. Now, there are a few other, you can use Grey Gamer as well, but I am opting for Librarian, I'm opting for Glass Bear, and then we've got the bigger one, Enterprise, as well. Okay, those are the only ones we're using in here with when the spirit blocks effects, but I think that we're gonna have them frequently enough that Air is not gonna be that dead in our hand. She's also a body that can block and potentially bounce one of your opponent's nexuses with Forest of Steel Leaves. We are playing a few mechas in here. We've got the Gunner in here as an easy sort of ramp and mecha. We've got Axebiter, of course, as you know, and we've got Durm Dyna in here. Another option that I was thinking about is potentially dropping 2 Axebiters for the Mobile Golem, the 4 cost 3 reduction, that is just a 4K body and a solid unit. It's a mecha. It can help Mothership keep ramping us, and potentially if we need to go faster. If 4 Axebiter ends up being too slow, we might need to do that. We might end up instead dropping some Pegasions. I don't know, but that reduces the number of cards we can play on turn 1. And these are the main strategies here. A Dream Bomb is also an aggro tool for us as well if we need to bounce one of our opponent's spirits on the attack. Very powerful. And one of the last things I guess I'll say is that the level 1 effect of Infinity Mother Ship, it's very nice. It's not going to be too important for us, I think. We're mostly going to be doing this for the ramp, but it is going to allow us to use some defensive Dream Bombs. It's going to allow us to be able to pay for Ice Shield without sacrificing any cores on anything. It's going to allow us to use Suppression, and it's going to mostly allow us to keep a lot of cores on our spirits that have effects that need it. I really do think Hollow Beast Glass Bear is, I almost said Hollow Glass Beast Bear. Pretty close, either way. I really think this card is underrated. I'm interested to get more games in it, more testing with it. Whenever I've been playing with this card, it's actually been pretty neat. I've enjoyed it. Another thing to consider for this deck is we could put in a Turbo Rex if we really wanted to. We could put 1 or 2 in here because eventually, you know, once you use your Hollow Beast Glass Bears or your Frost Tree Goddess Airs, you don't really need them to be on the board, especially Air. Once Air's used the Wind Summon, she's not strong, as you can see, and it could be powerful to just sacrifice her for a Turbo Rex. Something worth considering. If this sounded interesting to you, if you enjoy this idea, if you end up testing it out, please let me know. I'd enjoy reading your comments. I'm excited to test this out, and I hope you enjoyed the video.